MST Negates. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode we are taking a look at Radiant Typhoon, the MST Mystical Space Typhoon archetype, and the newest of the top tier archetypes. We have received pretty much everything for Radiant Typhoon, and already this deck has done very well in the TCG and in the OCG if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, of course it immediately slots into the metagame and is another top tier archetype. What does it do here? The thing is, Radiant Typhoon centers around Mystical Space Typhoon and quick play spells, generating advantage by activating the quick play spells, meaning we can play some very powerful quick plays. Things like Super Polymerization and Forbidden Droplet happen to be the most powerful here, at least in terms of go second cards. And that's pretty much it. All of the rest of the cards just special summon themselves very easily and then get into additional names or have disruption. It's a very simple deck, I'm not gonna lie. The Mystical Space Typhoon workaround is pretty cool, but other than that, it's pretty much everything that you've already seen before. Even with the quick play shenanigans, like Runic did that. So it's not like it's new in that space. It's a pretty played archetype. The only unique things about it are, of course, MST, and the fact that they're all wind, which is pretty cool. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Let's go over the card by card, starting off with the 3-ofs. We're playing 3 Eldam, which is the Monster Searcher. All of the smaller ones also have the effect where if MST is in the grave, or if your opponent controls no spell traps, they freely special summon themselves. So Eldam special summons themselves, and then on summon, searches out a Mystical Space Typhoon monster, or sorry, a Radiant Typhoon monster, or an MST. Next up we have Swen, which, same thing, with the summoning conditions, but this one will search out a spell trap, and then also MST. Then we have Crosia, which is a level 6, and all of the level 5 or higher, technically. I think they're all level 6 or higher. Oh, sorry. We're also playing one Meghala, which special summons itself, and then if a Radiant Typhoon or an MST is activated, you could special summon another Radiant Typhoon from deck. It's very useful, but it's something that you want to specifically search as opposed to just like draw, right? Because it doesn't really do anything by itself. Anyway, next up we are playing 3 Crosia. Crosia has the ability to special summon itself when a quick play is activated, and on summon searches a Radiant Typhoon and an MST, which is pretty good. Also, it searches any Radiant Typhoon, which is pretty solid. However, you are locked into wins for the rest of that turn. Next up, we have ourselves the Varun, which when a quick play spell is activated, you can special summon it, and when MST is activated, you can special summon it from grave. On top of that, when it's on the field, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can negate if you have an MST in grave, and if you have 2, you also destroy the card. Phoenix, this guy, has the same summoning conditions in hand. If you activate a quick play, you special summon it. In grave, if you activate MST, you can special summon it. If a quick play is activated, you can target 2 cards, up to 2 cards your opponent controls, shuffle them into the deck. It's very powerful. It's a nice addition to the end board. However, most of the time, this is the last card you get. Mostly just because it's harder to trigger the effect, whereas it's easier to trigger something like the Varun, and it's more useful, right? To help you like play around Nibiru and what have you. The rest of the cards are pretty simple. Bunches of quick plays. First and foremost, 3 MST, obviously. We're also playing 3 Super Polymerization and 3 Forbidden Droplet to help break boards. And then for the Radiant Typhoon cards, we are playing 3 Chant, which searches a level 4 or lower, and all of the quick play Radiant Typhoon cards have the ability to also search an MST. Makes sense. So they can either do their first effect to search out a card, or whatever else it might be, or search out the MST. We have Vision, which draws 2 and then discards a Radiant Typhoon, or the entire hand. You get to choose. Or searches the MST. And then we are also playing 1 Ascendance, which is a Reborn from grave for a level 6 or lower, or adds the MST. This one is notably more powerful as a search target because of the ability to bring back and to potentially search out. You summon the Crosia, and then Crosia can search a Phoenix or a Varun. So there you go. That's generally the idea behind that one. And then there is one other one that we're not playing, which is the Manifestation, which just sends a Radiant Typhoon monster to the grave, which is okay, but it's not great. So we're just cutting it. That's pretty much it. We're also playing 2 Harpy's Featherstorm. Yeah, we're playing Harpy's Featherstorm. Look, we actually can activate this from hand. Because we play all wind monsters, we can just make Harpy Conductor and then activate this from hand, which is very powerful. So yeah, we're going to play it. In fact, you probably could play 3 of this. In fact, you probably should play 3 of this. It's very, very, very good. Anyway, we're also playing a whole bunch of other random cards. Oh, I should say, the One Mandate is also in here. This card is very important for the MST combo or for the Radiant Typhoon combo, because what it does is when you activate MST, or when MST is activated, including the opponents, you can target a face-up card and just negate it. That is a once per chain, so do keep that in mind, but yeah, you can do that. It's pretty good. Also, once per turn, you can shuffle back 3 quick plays, including a Radiant Typhoon card, to draw a card and boost your monsters, which is pretty solid. As for the rest of the cards, they're pretty simple here. We are playing a Pot of Extrav because we don't technically need our extra deck that much. We're playing a Called by the Grave, we're playing Nibiru, we're playing Maxi, and then 3 Ash and 3 Fua. And that's it. Also, Fua happens to do kind of double duty here due to the fact that it is both a wind and a hand trap, and it's also a winged beast, which is useful as well. So that's it. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple. Super Poly targets, Mudragon, 2 Garura, the Adagnister, and the Secretarion. This should be Mysterion. I just played Secretarion. It should be Mysterion. So, there you go. Let me actually update that for you. Mysterion. There you go. We're playing 2 Xyz, the Totem Bird, which is just an additional spell trap negate, as well as Typhon. And then a whole bunch of links. Great Fly is a way to boost the field, which is very nice to get over important thresholds. We have Harpy Conductor, as previously mentioned, for the Harpy's Featherstorm. We have Win, we have SP Little Knight. We're playing 3 apiece of Vararoon because you need to see this. It's just like a massive point for the deck. And then we are also playing the 1 Samorph. And that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, so here we are going first, and our hand is actually... Oh, just kidding, I lied, we're going second. Our hand is actually pretty good here, given the fact that we have multiple quick plays. We have both of our monsters that want to be used as disruption, and we have super polymerization. The problem is we have the worst super polymerization deck to play against, which is Vanquishold K9. Yeah, there's not really a great super poly target in this deck. There are a few targets we can use, but it's not great. And because they utilize a lot of cards in hand, it's, again, pretty bad. However, it is just another way to get additional bodies on the field. So my opponent's going to go through their whole line. They have everything here. There's nothing I can do. I don't have any hand traps. So yeah, they just get to do everything here. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, it didn't feel terrible to play just a bunch of board breakers. And so that's nice. However, Ash Blossom feels really bad in this deck. You kind of still need it because of Maxi and Fua loss and the like, right? You can kind of play around Fua loss. Actually, for the most part, you can entirely play around Fua loss. You give them like 1 draw, which is pretty nice. So I guess you could cut Ash Blossom and play something else instead. You could play like Droll or something of that nature. But I don't know. I guess maybe it would be better to cut the Ash Blossom for other quick plays, right? Forbidden Chalice is pretty good. Forbidden Lance would be not bad. You could play... I was going to say Twin Twister, but that kind of sucks because you already are playing the MST, which is searchable. All right. They've done their whole combo, and they kind of goofed because they ended on Jax, but didn't end on a second Vanquishold name, so they didn't get to set their other trap card. Now, to be fair, it wouldn't have mattered because we just MST both of them, but that is something to keep in mind. They just have the K9 quick play. We're going to search out the MST here because we just drew Corrosia, which is very nice. I'm going to chain as well my Phonics, which they will promptly negate. I'm like, that's fine. Now we go for the MST after we pop, and we send away specifically the Rock as well as the Masquerade, so that I can go for the Mudragon here. We're going to activate the effect of the Mudragon as well to declare Wind. Realistically, I think I should have declared like Dark or something like that, so that they can't target their own guy, but it's fine. We go for the Vararoon, and then we also go for the Corrosia to grab Chant. We're going to grab Chant. We're going to grab the Eldang. Then I chain the MST as well, just to get another MST on... and then also to go for the Phonics here. Now we go for the Eldam, and yeah, there's Droll. Yeah, of course they had Droll. I let that go, which may seem strange, but the thing is, I'm less concerned about that. I've already done all of my searching, right? I can add back from hand, and at this point, the Vararoon also has the ability to put a face-up trap card onto the field. I didn't even mention what this card does. Yeah, if you activate a quick play, you place a Radiant Continuous trap onto the field, and then on top of that, if or you can target 2 face-up cards, including a Radiant Typhoon monster you control, and place them into the back row, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's mostly it. Also, it adds a spell trap, or it adds an MST from deck to grave. Deck or grave to hand. There we go. I do have to pop my own MST here, which feels really bad. And realistically, I shouldn't have done this. I'm realizing now it just, like, doesn't matter. It would have been better just to keep the 2 MSTs. Though, realistically, I think what I should have done is wait and like hold off on the destruction of start for later, so that I could have used it now to spin away and get all of the general advantage. We do go for the Great Fly here. This just, again, helps us punch for more damage. They're going to go for the Azana. I didn't have lethal here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We just walk in for a bunch of damage. I could have done a little bit more damage, to be fair. They're going to set the Force Release, and then I'm going to attempt to pass. They're going to go for the Lupus. I promptly negate it. Now, notably, it actually doesn't get destroyed because I only have the 1 MST, because I've already used the effect of the Mandate in order to put the 2 other MSTs back. Or the 1 other MST back. So instead, now I can actually put the Lupus, instead of putting it into the grave, I just put it into the back row. Now, I guess it would have been better to have it banish itself, but whoops, it's fine. They're going to go Stake Your Soul. I'm going to actually go for the Mud Dragon here, declaring fire. And they actually kind of take the bait here. This realistically doesn't do anything because they could just link off into the rock, right? And then with rock, they could special summon a different attribute. They don't actually have to target the Raisin here. But alas, they do go Raisin into this zone as opposed to a different zone that would have mattered more. So that's great. They go for the Kaiser here. Activate effect of Raisin, revealing Raisin and the Mad Love that we know is in hand. We know Kaiser, we know Mad Love, we know both Xiaolongs, we know there's a Raisin in hand. We basically know the entire hand, I think. Actually, no, I think there's a Xiaolong in grave. Yeah, there's a Xiaolong in grave. So we know 2 Raisin, we know Heavy Borger, and we know a Mad Love is in hand. We don't know the other cards. All right, out comes the Holly Sue. They're going to go for the Kaiser, activate its effect to destroy a card. This, obviously, I have to negate because they just would pop my Vararoon, which we don't want. Also, keeping Vararoon on field is very good for Holisu because it takes the lowest attack, right? With the lowest attack, and if I use his effect, she just doesn't do anything now. So, anyway, out comes Rock the Vanquisher, activate the effect. They're going to add it back the Kaiser. They're going to activate the effect of the Holisu, and you're going with my guy until the end phase. Then proceed to the end of the turn, and die due to time. Yep. Timer. Hooray. All right, now, to be fair, was I going to lose that? Maybe. Hard to say. Regardless, we do get to go first now. And obviously, we're going to try and activate all of our card effects in the draw phase. So we activate our quick play, search out, or actually draw 2 off of this, and pitch the Phonics. So now we go for the Chant, and we add the Eldam. We're going to special summon the Swen. We're going to add to our hand Ascendance. We're going to special summon the Eldam. We're going to search out the Vararoon, and then we're going to go into the Eidolon. Eidolon effect is going to grab up the MST. Now we can activate the Ascendance and the MST, and this is generally what we are wanted to do. We're going to search out an MST. We are going to then activate the effect of all of our cards here. Many cards here. So, yeah, we're going to go Chain Link 1 in order to place face up a spell or a trap. We are going to Chain Link 2, I think, Phonics, to special summon itself from grave. We're going to Chain Link 3, the Ascendance, which will reset itself since it was destroyed by Mystical Space Typhoon specifically. And then we are going to, technically not in the same chain, but in the same chain. Basically, I give my opponent an ability to respond at this point, but they didn't. So now as Chain Link 4, we can activate the Vararoon in hand to special summon itself. So we set a card, we special summon our 2 big guys, we grab up the trap card, and then I just normal summon a guy and link it to SP here, and we pass the turn. My opponent's going to go for Chant in order to grab up a Radiant Typhoon monster. Cool. They activated a quick play, which means that we can go for the Corrosia here, and they're going to go for their own MST. Coolio. Activate effect of the Corrosia in order to search out 2 of our cards. This is all happening in draw phase, by the way. Now, here's the thing. I am dumb and didn't read my own card. So I see them target my MST and where my MST is set, which they know about. And I go, oh no. Well, I guess I might as well get advantage out of it. So I'm going to go for the Ascendant here, targeting it with my own MST. However, the thing is, Mandate does say once per chain, when MST is activated, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects. Which I could have just negated their own MST. However, you will see in a second that it actually comes back to be useful for me that I didn't do this because, well, you'll see. Anyway, pass to the main phase. They're going to go for the Eldam. I'm going to tag out here just so that they can't get the additional bodies onto their field. Out comes the Swen. Swen is going to search out the other quick play. They're going to draw 2, and they're going to discard. Oh, would you look at that, an MST. Wow. What's the likelihood they drew that, or they already had it and wanted to bait out the negation? Hard to say, to be fair. Anyway, out comes Tri-Brigade. Oh, it's actually Tri-Brigade. Yeah, this is the Tri-Brigade Yummy build, and I'm not gonna lie, I play this pretty poorly. However, yeah, out comes the Snatchy here, and I'm like, okay, if I negate Snatchy, right, I could potentially cut them off of the Yummies, but they haven't normaled. Up until this point, they haven't normaled. So they could just normal summon a Yummy, and then do the line anyway, and it would do the exact same thing. So I was like, okay, I'll just wait here, and just wait for them to activate. However, I'm stupid, because I forgot that this card does in fact say once per chain during the main phase or your opponent's battle phase. Because for some reason, I feel like it says during your opponent's main or battle phase. No, you can activate this on your own turn. Oops. So yeah, of course they chain in response to my negation, and out comes the Cupsy Yummy Way. I have a really strong follow-up, so I'm not too concerned. They do have to basically kill me here, which, I mean, they have the field spell to do that, so we'll see. Out comes Lollipo. Lollipo, bring back the 2 guys. Go for the Cookie. Cookie, book 2. It's a weird choice what they book, but I guess it makes sense. And then they special summon the Cookie from the hand. They don't have lethal here, so there's that. Also, if they do elect to... This may seem strange here, but if they do elect to attack into the Vararoon, because of the way that this is worded, because it has the boost effect, I can activate this in the damage step. So, at the beginning or at the... before damage calculation, basically, I can activate the effect, and then they wouldn't be able to tag out with their synchros. So, it may seem strange to be like, oh, why are you not attacking the Vararoon with your Cookie Yummy Way? And the answer is more damage. You're not going to get over this guy. Why not just go for more damage, right? So that's the idea there. So I draw a card here because I figured they're not going to attack the other guy. And then out comes Spray Elf. I'm like, okay, yeah. And they bring back a kit, and I go, oh, no. Huh? Because Shurai just kind of kills me that time limit. It's always the time limit. It's always the time limit. Awesome. Thanks, Yu-Gi-Oh! Another game that was interesting, back and forth, and dynamic, and they said, that can't happen. Alrighty. Here we are, once again, going second. And once again, our hand is insanely stacked. We have 2 extremely powerful go second cards, an additional extender, an additional extender, and then, of course, Eldam as well, which is a 1-card starter, and we have the ability to search MST. And my opponent decides to go for Dragoon. Wow, crazy. Imagine going Dragoon. Anyway, they're going to go for the Rahu Draco Tail. I don't know why they're also playing 60. This feels counterintuitive for Draco Tail, but sure. They're going to go for the Rahu. They're going to go into our Thalion off of that. Trigger the effect of both the Pan and the 5 mana. Add back the 5 mana. They're going to set Flame, and they're going to set Horn. Okay, I'm going to tell you this now. if you are playing Dracotail, your first two that you should probably grab right now, in terms of trap cards, Sting and Flame. Flame first, and then Sting. I think Horn is okay, but it's also kind of mid. Theoretically, it's good because it kind of works as Compulse, but due to the nature of the way that a lot of decks work nowadays, it's just not as useful, right? Almost every deck has the ability to play around that pretty much with no regard for it, so it just kind of sucks. It's not the worst. I just think Sting is better off. There's a lot of cards that Sting hits. That's all. PSA, right? My opponent passes there. They have nothing else. Okay, very interesting. Of course, immediately in draw phase, we're going to activate the effect of our Vision. Then we are going to go for the Droplet here, and then we are going to go for the MST after the Dragoon pitches a card. They pitch Dark End Evaporation, which is a card that I have never seen in Dracotail before, but sure. Okay, anyway, Super Polymerization away the field. Out comes the Secretarion. Yeah. I would have preferred making Mud Dragon here so that I could utilize the Mud Dragon effect to protect my field from targeting. I just make everything wind, and then they literally can't target me with Horn, which would have been great. However, that doesn't get rid of Dragoon, and I don't have another clean way to deal with Dragoon, especially when it goes up to 4,000. So I was just like, let's just fuse it away. That seems like a better option. Anyway, we're going to go for the Crocia, and because I want to put Crocia in attack position, I'm just going to force them immediately to use the Horn. So there's that. Out comes Crocia. We're going to grab Chant here. We're going to activate the effect of Chant. Oh, also, the reason I didn't add another MST is because I'm stupid and didn't realize how this worked. I wanted, instead of activating the Chant, or instead of searching the Chant, I wanted to search the Draw 2. And I was like, oh, let me go back and search the Draw 2 instead. And then it didn't let me. And I was like, oh, and I just didn't get my MST. So, whoops. It's fine. We're going to go for the Swen here to grab Ascendance, and then we're going to go for the Eldam to search out the Vararune, and then we're going to link off into the Eidolon, activate the effect of the Eidolon to grab the MST. They're going to chain it back to the Arthalion in defense position for some reason. I don't know why we wouldn't put this in attack position. We're going to go for the Ascendance as well as the Typhon, or Mystical Space Typhoon. Search the MST, trigger a whole bunch of cards. Notably, we are triggering the Vararune. And now we can attempt to put the Lucius back into the back row. The reason for the Lucius is because this is going to banish itself when we destroy it, and the Lucius is going to trigger when they use the 5 mana. So you don't want them to trigger that additional effect there. It's fine. They negate it with Baylor, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we just kind of draw a card and then pass the turn. They don't even use 5 mana. I don't know why we wouldn't use 5 mana there to just do something, right? You can set off of Lucius, and then at the very least you have something there. Even if you just force the MST, that's still fairly useful, because then I don't have it for the follow-up. So, kind of silly on their part, but it's all good. During the standby phase, I elect to go for the Ascendance here, and the reason for this is because if they want to droll, I kind of want them to use the droll now. So that's the reason I activated in standby as opposed to draw. But I also don't want them to be able to utilize 5 mana here before I get the chance to search my cards. So we're going to also add the MSD from Grave, because I believe the other one is already in Grave. They have their own Super Polymerization to go for there for Rura. Oh, wow, crazy. Anyway, they did activate a Quick Play spell, so now I can add the Phonics to the field. So that's very funny. They're going to go for that 5 mana here. They're going to go for the Secretarions. They don't have any cards in hand. And out comes the Ketu, and yeah, that's just not going to hit the field. I'm going to negate the Secretarion and then actually just shuffle it away. They have nothing here. This game is over. Good game. Shake my hand. And they just let me OTK them here. So we're going to shuffle back a few cards to draw a card, and we draw a Chant, which is actually pretty good. During the draw phase, because we're always going to try to play around Troll. The one time I did in fact lose. So, whoops. Anyway, I'm going to draw 2, discard card, go to the main phase here, normal summon the Swen, special summon it, actually. And then just proceed to combat. I have over-lethal here, so, yeah, just combat. Don't need to elongate the game, just get it over with. Good game. Also, real quick, we possibly have the greatest icon to ever grace this game. It's just Cow. It's Cow. No notes. Alrighty. So, overall, how did Radiant Typhoon do? And honestly, it's pretty good. Obviously. As previously mentioned, you probably cut the Ash Blossoms, maybe play Droll, maybe play another quick play like Forbidden Chalice or I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh, Metaltronus. I heard someone say Metaltronus was a good idea, though I don't know how useful that would be. I don't know what we would summon that would be useful there, but you could do that instead. Ash kind of mid for this deck. Overall, though, it's a pretty good deck, right? I mean, we played against a lot of top-tier strategies, and we're able to compete fairly effectively. We also saw that other top-tier decks have the ability. Yummy has the ability to also play these cards as well. Notably, being able to play the Eldam and the Swen are useful, right? You play the quick plays alongside MST, and then you play some targets for them so that you have the ability to just kind of generate more advantage, right? You get to put Beast and Beast Warriors into the grave for the Tri-Brigade half of the engine, and then the Tri-Brigade stuff gets you access to your Yummy stuff, which just makes the combo more consistent, and you get searchable back row removal, which I also find to be very useful. However, this deck overall is it's a pretty, I don't know, it's pretty good. It's fun, but it's not my favorite. I don't know. It's also, I will say, it is also very cheap in terms of main deck requirements, or like engine requirements, right? You need Eldam, you need Vision, and you need what was the other one? I think that's it, right? And then I guess like any other quick play super. I guess you need Droplet, right? But then you need Phonics. I guess you don't even need Phonics. The other card that I'm not playing that is often played in this is Sheena, which is this card, the Twin Tempests of Celestial Thunder, which is a fairly decent card. It says when your opponent activates a card effect while you control a wind monster, you can, dependent on what the opponent activated, either or you special summon it, and then you either bounce all monsters or you bounce all spell traps, depending on what they activated. Which is I'm torn on this card because it is fairly good, especially for going second, being able to like push into established boards. However, it also is kinda mid because it already requires you to control that wind monster. So I don't know. I'm a bit torn on it. But it is just kind of another hand trap that you get access to. If your opponent does anything, you just, here you go, here's a guy. Maybe you like bounce some guys, right? So it's fine, right? It's also another way where if the opponent were to activate like Veiler, you could potentially dodge a Veiler, but it's only specifically Veiler, so it's kind of weird. All in all, though, it's a card. It's a good card. I don't think it's necessary, but that is a card you could build towards for this deck. That's it. That's pretty much it for the deck. It's cool. MST negates now. Hooray. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.